Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
What a beautiful night tonight, huh? Outside, it's finally here, springtime, but friends, welcome to the Fitchburg Access Television's 28th Boulder Award Dinner, honoring this year's recipient, Susan Navarre. Here's a pro tip. You never clap in front of the microphone, all right? Let's remember that, all right? All right, my name is Nathan Glennie, if you didn't know, and I am Executive Director here at Fitchburg Access Television, and I'm thankful to be sharing this wonderful evening with all of you. I see a lot of friendly faces in this crowd, but there's a lot of faces that I haven't seen before. Welcome. Welcome to our evening of celebration, and welcome to our annual Boulder dinner. It's going to be a great night honoring all of our award recipients, members of our FATV community. The FATV community, that phrase is one I tend to use quite frequently. Our FATV community is what makes up our success. Whether that is our dedicated volunteer members, the hardworking and dedicated staff that I'm lucky to work alongside, the experienced leadership of our board of directors, the many great partners we have throughout this community. I could list more and more, but this community is second to none. I'm thankful to everyone who is a part of our FATV community, because after all, we wouldn't be who we are today without all of you. I'd like to also start this evening by going over some fun facts about FATV programming.
Fun.
It's fun facts. Are you ready? Are you ready, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Susan, are you ready? Yes. All right. So, the volunteer members of FATV produce over 20 local access television programs. And they are of diverse topics and subject matters. In 2024, our FATV community, volunteers and staff included, we produced over 680 hours of local community programming. That's incredible. From that total 680 hours, there were 315 member-produced shows. There programs. There were 220 legislative meetings, mostly done by one individual. You probably know him if you've been there. 103 sporting events, which includes Fitchburg State Sports and Fitchburg Public Schools. And we also covered over 60 community and civic events, from the 4th of July parade to Veterans Memorial Day. And we work a lot, but we have a great team and a great FATV community. Another fun fact, on March 8th of this year, we had the Fitchburg State University Men's Ice Hockey Conference Championship game, which, oh, by the way, they won. But what's incredible is the amount of live viewers that we had for that game. 3,400 viewers. It's incredible. That shows a great following at Fitchburg State Sports, you know? But one can only imagine how many more would be watching on cable TV. Those viewership numbers are something that we have never received and probably will never. Now that I've shared some of the fun facts, I'd like to share some of the realities that we face today. FATV, as you know, nonprofit organization. We are not funded by city, state, or federal dollars. We are funded by a fee to the cable television operators within the city of Fitchburg alone. Those cable companies, they pass it on to you. And you see it as a tax. We try to explain that it's a fee. It's a game going back and forth. Well, as you might imagine, cable television subscriptions have declined with the push of streaming media services. We have the app. We have the FATV app. We know that's where people consume it, but our legislative laws need to catch up with the reality times that we live in today. Since 2016, cable subscriptions have gone down 50% in Fitchburg alone. During that same time period, FATV's annual budget has suffered to the tune of $250,000. Don't be alarmed. There's a 10-year lease of the building that we're in right now. We're not going anywhere. But this is a reality that needs to be shared and needs to get to our state and local elected officials. So I'd like to ask you all a rhetorical question. With the vast amount of community programming that FATV offers and its hyper-local media coverage that I spoke of earlier, what would our community do without FATV? What if the services and the community programming available through the FATV were no longer to exist? That could become a reality unless we fix the foundational funding formula on how community media stations like us are funded. So tonight, I kindly ask you to reach out to our state delegation and urge them to save our stations. Lights.
This is what the future of local TV could be if we don't act now. Local access television is the connection to your local community, but its future is in danger. Without legislative action on how it's funded, local TV will inevitably fade away. If we don't act now, an invaluable source of local programming will become extinct. We stand to lose one of the only sources of free speech media, one which is equitable and accessible to all. Local TV keeps you connected, informed, and entertained. Our neighbors are the faces of local TV. You are the voices of the community, so let's continue to be heard. We need you to act now. Save our stations. Call your state representative and state senator. For more information, visit fatv.org/SOS.
So, as I mentioned, the time is now that we need to rally and support and advocate for local community television. Please consider making a phone call to our local delegation and voice your support to pass these two pieces of legislation. Again, fatv.org/SOS has some more information on it, but it's really important that we find a way to keep what we do for our communities intact. Oh yeah, I should mention one other shameless plug of the evening. This QR code you see behind me here, this is a link to our donation page. We always accept tax-free, tax-deductible donations through our online secure donation portal. Every donation helps our mission, so we look forward to you donating to us at a time that is right for you. I've done very well to stay behind the camera. This is my one of a few opportunities that I have to be in front of the camera. So that was my one pitch of the night. But if you want to check it out at some other time, fatv.org/donate. With every organization, there are individuals who dedicate their time, knowledge, and resources to the overall mission and its success. FATV is privileged to have such an excellent team, which makes up the 11 board of directors who serve as its governing body, and my bosses. But in all honesty, you know what? I can't imagine having any other board composition. They are truly wonderful people who really encourage and support and help our mission, and I thank each and every one of them. So working behind the scenes, though, and always keeping FATV as a focal point, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, who is also president of the FATV Board of Directors. Glenn Kinney has served on the board since 2018 and was elected as president by his fellow board members back in September of 2024. Prior to joining our board, he enjoyed a 33-year career with Harvard University's media department. These days, you might see him out in the community or at a local wedding as a DJ. With a round of applause, I'd now like to welcome our next speaker to the podium, Glenn.
Thank you, Nate, and I think we should give Nate and the staff a great big hand. One of the beauties of being involved with FATV is basically getting to know each and every one of you and the staff. I've written pretty much a a story that I think would actually match this event, and bear with me. It's not your usual thing to talk about, but I want to just give you a story. Jacob. Imagine Jacob. Jacob is a strong man. He's a man that is determined to take care of his family. His family consists of his wife and 2 children, 2 boys, and a horse. The problem Jacob had, however, is that he lived in a land that couldn't provide. There was a great famine, and his family suffered greatly. What was the only thing that Jacob could do? Move. So he took his belongings, took his family, took his horse, and brought them to a new land that he had heard about, and he trusted what he heard. When he arrived to this new land, he found himself in an amazing area. And within that land, there was a community. One community with like-minded people that came from all over the country to that one area. He loved it. In that short time, a man came up to him, a stranger, came up and shook his hand. And he said, "Hi, what's your name?" "Jacob," he replied. The man said, "What do you do?" "Well, I'm a farmer." "You're a farmer? You know something? This community could use you. I'd like to show you some land that's not far off, that's near the river. Would you like to see it?" Jacob went, "Of course, I'd love to." So with his family, they took a journey and found that land. And Jacob stood there and he looked and he thought, this has promise. This really has promise. So the stranger said, "Tell you what, why don't I give you some help?" So they knocked down a few trees, built a modest home, cleared some brush, and made a garden for Jacob. And Jacob was determined to make that garden grow. And sure enough, that land provided and gave bounty for his family. The winter came, the winter left, and spring arrived. And a new stranger came by, admiring the work that Jacob had done, and said, "Jacob, I don't understand. You've got this small garden, but you've got this vast area that you can use." And Jacob went, "Well, it isn't as fertile as the land that's close to the house." He goes, yes it is. With a little bit of work, you can make that." "How?" said Jacob. The stranger said, "Let me show you." So he took the droppings from the horse, some fish that was actually swimming within the river, and just some soils and trees that have died, and fertilized the soil. He also trained the horse on how to till. And sure enough, that bountiful land grew an enormous amount of wealth. So much wealth that it was too much for Jacob. And Jacob sat back and said, I want to give back to this community. So with that stranger, they brought that bounty back to that community, and the community cherished Jacob and that stranger. The next winter came, the next winter left, and a new season began. Oh boy. Now there was some trouble. The weather was heinous, just like where he had come from. Dry, a drought. The community suffered. Oh, and Jacob's family suffered. It was not good until one day, another stranger, which he didn't know, came from a distant land and saw Jacob was suffering. And he said to Jacob, "I don't understand you. Why don't you build a dam and irrigate your farm?" And Jacob scratched his head. I don't understand what you're talking about." "Let me show you," said the stranger. So together with his sons, they built a small dam and channeled that water during a drought and fed the soil. And there was more bounty than there was the previous year. So all of that bounty was there for Jacob. Jacob decided, I'm going to give back to the community. I want to give back to this community. So he asked those 3 strangers and his family to take all that bounty and bring it to the suffering people in that community. And they cherished them all. Not only did they cherish, they wound up doing better than they ever had before during a drought. Nice story, isn't it? Yeah. What does that have to do with us and FATV? You, every single one of you, the people who I see right here, right now, are those strangers. FATV is Jacob. You provide the wonderful knowledge, experience, and support for us to provide something wonderful to the community. And we love you for it, and I think you should all have a round of applause for yourself for doing that. With that being said, I'd like to introduce you to our board, if you don't mind. First off, I'd like to introduce, by the way, our board, please remain seated until I ask you to stand. I don't want you standing forever. By the way, also, I had a great time researching each and every one of these members, and I could go on for a half hour on every board member. They're wonderful. But let me start off with our treasurer, Sharon Bernard. Sharon had a relationship with the public library for over 51 years and retired as director of the Fitchburg Public Library in 2022. She is still actively involved with the library's renovation. She currently is a board member of the Aging Services of Central Massachusetts, which provides information to the public regarding caregiving support, home care, adult family care, and protective services. She is also a member of the Institution Review Board of Fitchburg State University. Sharon, can you stand, please? Our clerk, Ellen Doust. Ellen is the Associate Director of Education at Cambridge Community Television, better known as CCTV. She was the former senior media developer at the Museum of Science, involved with shooting, editing, and animating videos for the museum's Engineering is Elementary project. She was also a freelance digital media producer for Boston Children's Museum, MIT, Boston Gay Men's Choir, Mystic River Watershed Association. My goodness. Not only does she do that, or she did that, she is now a yoga instructor and trainer for the Fitchburg Wellness Initiative. Ellen, are you here? Please stand. Hi, Ellen. Matt Brune. Matt began his relationship with Fitchburg State University in 2009 as Director of Publication Relations, and now has become the Chief of Staff to the President of the university. Not only that, he was a journalist for 17 years, working and published in the Telegram and Gazette and the Sentinel Enterprise. Currently, he chairs the Fitchburg Public Library Board of Trustees and involved with the restoration of the new public library. Matt, can you stand, please? Kat Deal. Oh, Kat's great. We love you, Kat. You've done so much for us. Kat is a project analysis and coordinator for the North Central Massachusetts Coalition for Employer and Supported Childcare. Say that 3 times. Providing support and information to affordable, high-quality childcare for the working parent. Extremely important. She has collaborated with FATV in a variety of projects, such as the Community Leadership Institute, and now is a valuable member of the board. With her experience and guidance, we have an amazing support that's unmeasurable. Kat, please stand. Luisa Fernandez. Luisa is a coordinator of the development of family and community engagement at the Fitchburg Public Library School, Fitchburg Public School Systems. Sorry, not the library. Fitchburg Public School Systems. Yeah, fantastic. She also has received the citation from the Massachusetts House of Representatives. Well done. and also received an award for the Commission on the Status of Women in 2022 as a heroine and defender of the community. In 2023, if that wasn't enough, you received the Boulder Award for her dedication to the cultural diversity and support for the Spanish community. I'm not done. And recently received the Distinguished Service to the Community presented by the President of Fitchburg University. Mucho trabajo. Mucho trabajo, amiga. Please stand. Come on, let everyone see. Scott May. Scott began his work at FATV in 2011 and became the executive director developing classes in broadcast media for the community and surrounding high schools with the guidance of Fitchburg State University. He also co-produced the North Central Journal and received the Excellence Award in 2002 from FATV. Scott May. George Marajanian. I call him the chess king and champion. George has given major support to FATV by hosting a long-running series called Chess Chat, which began in 2006. George is also the program director of the Wachusett Chess Club at Fitchburg State University and has held that position since 1968. If you want to talk chess, talk to George. George, please rise and be recognized. Unfortunately, the next three people are not here, but I want to mention them just the same. Dr. Kyle Moody. Dr. Moody is an associate professor of communication media at Fitchburg State University. He's taught courses in message design, history of interactive media, and history of television. He brings FATV to his classroom and collaborates with the staff of FATV and students of the university, producing media for the public and the university. Not only does he do that, he's currently in research and writing about the impact of fake news and false information on various platforms and how it affects culture. Yeah. He is not present, but we need to give him a hand. Francisco Ramos. Yeah. Francisco is the Director of Community Organizing with NewView. Now, NewView helps the community by educating and counseling people in buying new homes, starting small businesses, and improving neighborhoods. Key for here. Francisco has helped create the Stewart Leadership Development Training Program. He is also bilingual in English and Spanish and expands the reach of FATV by helping provide a platform for the Latin community. Francisco. And lastly, our president, Todd Govin. Todd Govin, sorry about that, Todd. Todd is the Unitil's senior safety representative from Massachusetts and New Hampshire. He pretty much keeps the lights on. He's a huge supporter of FATV and has served as the replay technician and camera operator for sporting events. Unfortunately, he's not here, but we should give him applause. Our Vice President. At this time, I'm done. So I'd like to return the podium to the Executive Director, who will then address you all further. Todd.
All right. If I didn't say this, I might get in trouble. Govin. But let's remember, we've had some incidences in the past that have been entertaining for the full room on how we enunciate names. I will do it again in the future where I botch somebody's name, but you know what? Well done with George's name. That deserves a round of applause. Thank you, Louisa. All right, so, Glenn, what did you do up here? Where's my script? Oh, okay, I'm good. I got it. Sheesh. Sorry, sir. I didn't mean to speak like that. All right. I think, what did you, okay. That story, Glenn, I am now, who am I?
Jacob.
I'm Jacob. Yes. I am now Jacob.
He's Jacob.
Bringing bounty to our community. But that's a bounty full of information, entertainment, and engagement. So, great story, Glenn. Thank you for that. At this time, I'd like to take a pause and take a meaningful moment to pay tribute to those of our FATV community who we have lost over the past year through this remembrance video. Lights, maestro. I knew all three of these wonderful members of our FATV community, all of whom served on our board of directors. They all gave back. They were all dedicated to our FATV community. So I thank you for paying tribute to them, and we'll never, ever forget them. So I'd like to actually offer a moment of silence to Ken, Judith, and Pastor Shad at this time, please. Thank you. So this is probably the hardest segue, but this is the time where we're going to take a break and enjoy some of our wonderful food here tonight. But before we begin, I would like to take the time to thank our wonderful host, Oak Hill Country Club. Jeremy, yes. Jeremy and their entire team provide us with fabulous accommodations, as you can see this evening, and we are so appreciative for their continued support and partnership in hosting our annual Boulder Award Dinner. All right, friends, how's that dinner treating you all? You enjoy it? Yes? All right, well, we're going to keep this show moving along, so please continue to enjoy your dinner. And we're now going to transition into the awards portion of our ceremony. So, every year, the staff of FATV selects volunteers who are deserving of an award for their contributions to community media. To begin with the recognition of the 23rd Annual Member Awards, I would like to please welcome to the podium Daniel Bolak to present our first award of the evening. Daniel?
Good evening, everyone.
Missed last year, glad to be back here. Daniel Bolak, production specialist, FATV. I'm the guy who does all those meetings at the legislative building. It's like my second office. So, our first FATV Member Award. This winner is someone who's been a dedicated volunteer to FATV for over 30 years. I got to talk with him, his friend, and his family beforehand. I've had to actually mentally rewrite some of my script because I've learned so much more about him. But yes, over 30 years he's been contributing as a volunteer to FATV. In the beginning, he made films, movies with mutant creatures, ghosts, monsters, vampire pumpkins. He used his knowledge and the tools at his disposal to create pieces and programs that you wouldn't soon forget. And in addition to working on films for the big screen, he says he's got another film in the pipeline to be done shortly. He's also done some work on the little screen, if you will. Since 2009, Andy Sawyer has been entertaining and informing sci-fi and horror movie fans with Andy's Little Sci-Fi Horror Show, his 10-minute window to the rest of the world, with over 800 episodes to date. Now, I'd like to tell you a brief story about our FATV Member Awards. This is the 23rd annual FATV Member Awards, and the very first ones, back in 2001 at the Fay Club, we were giving awards out then, and as it turns out, Andy Sawyer was an award winner that year for production creativity. Woo! So he's been contributing for this long, so we gave him that award, or at least we tried to, but there were so many fans for him and all that. The Fay Club was filled to capacity. He shows up, there's no room for him. He can't get in. And imagine not being able to get into. But he told me afterwards, he and his party, though, they were the best dressed folks in Friendly's. He's 24 years later in a new venue, he's still entertaining us to this day, and we are more than happy to give him the award for Producer of the Year. Andy Sawyer, congratulations.
Thank you very much. See, that's how you walk in front of a camera. You just do it like you own it. Wow, okay, well, I'm gonna put this right here if you don't mind. Polish it later. Okay. Well, thank you very much. As I said, as was said before, I guess you weren't joking, were you, Nate? He told me, I first found out about this was beginning of April, and where I work, April Fool's Day is kind of a big thing because we work with the kids, and I hadn't seen him since April Fool's Day, so that window of opportunity was still there. So I go up there, and he's like, oh, I got something to tell you. And I go, he's like, you've been elected for an award. I'm like, where? And he's like, and he goes, the FATV. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like waiting for the punchline. and I'm like, yeah, it's been a while. And he goes, 2006. And I'm like, wait, he's done the research. He's serious. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? And then he was telling me about this, and I was like, it sounded really great. And then he goes, you got to make a speech. And I'm like, oh. Okay, well, I'll forgive you one day for this. So, let's fast forward a week, I got a nice big long thing going on here, and then he told me, he goes, oh, it's it's Oak Hill Country Club, and you got to be classy. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I went back and did some editing, and now, fortunately, everything I have to say fits on an envelope. Because I did some emergency editing. You can now see, of course, now at the beginning of this was my introduction about the Spider 30 years, so I don't even need this. He took care of that. So. Oh, yeah. Where was I? 2009. Okay, good. No, as I said before, I have been working at FATV back when they were on the third floor of the South Street School, and Mark Rushlow had his Marky Mark studio. He called it the closet, but it was like the production room. I'm like, yeah, but this is a cool closet, dude. It was totally stuck with the decks. Oh man, yeah, and then working with the SVHS cameras and the toggle switches, and I don't even know if any of you remember that. God, I'm feeling old now here. But it wasn't like, but fast forward, I had been doing it for a few years, and then in 2009, I finally realized that I was doing a lot of the most interesting things off camera. So I decided to document this a little bit, and I pitched the idea to my brother from another mother over there, Drew, he's been in every episode. Well, he's been with the episode since the first episode, and I'm like, dude, a round of applause. And then, yeah, I'm gonna embarrass you too, dude. Yeah. So I go, I got an idea. We pitched an idea about a sci-fi horror show, and I go, it'd be great because like, I go something different, and there's no, there's no social issues, there's no politics, no offense to half the room here, but yeah. So, anyways, I'm getting to the point. I pitched a couple ideas, and then I said, I wrote down 17 Post-it notes as an emergency board, and I put them on the TV, a monitor in the back, and I go, those are going to be ideas I have just in case I'm run out of ideas and I need an emergency episode. Well, 880 episodes later, there's still 15 Post-it notes on the board, and I think the two that are missing fell down because I don't really remember even looking at that board. You can see it from time to time in my editing when I'm in it, it's in the back. So that's what all the Post-it notes are, emergency ideas. So yeah, wow. I mean, can you tell I don't do public speaking? So it was one quick, really funny story since half of my stuff was pre-edited here. I do remember it was I was working on the show for about 3 years. I have to say, I have to be a little bit, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm going to tell you guys something that I've never told anybody, not even my wife, not anybody about the any of those sci-fi horror shows. The real reason why I did it. And it's because back then I was extremely shy, even though I didn't really show it. Or maybe I just hated people a lot. I couldn't really tell. There's a fine line of those. But I was working on the show, and it was going about 3 years or so. And then I went into the after hours, like to the FATV in the old building, and there was some people there getting ready to do a show. There was some people sitting over there, yeah. And then I walk up, in to see Tim. I walk up to the camera, and I go, hello. And then out of the corner of my eye, peripheral vision, a young lady perked up, and then I was waiting for Tim, and then she comes over. She goes, Andy, right? And I'm like, maybe. And I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, I watch your show. And I was and she's there all smiles and like, sweetheart face and like, being friendly. And I'm like, my only retort was like, why? And then, and all kidding aside, I go, and that's gave me, I don't even remember the rest of the conversation because I was picking up the mental pieces of my brain off the floor. And then in the car, I thought, why? And then I went back and I got to watch, and I'm like, this is a watchable show. We met, we went to conventions, we've done cosplay, we've done road trips, we did UFO investigations and paranormal investigations at locations, most of them legal. I'm not going to get into details, but I was like, this is really kind of cool, and it was almost selfish in a way, but it was very like therapy to actually put myself in front of the camera, and this is a whole lot more of it right now. So I'm gonna just wrap things up and say that a similar event happened when he told me about this, and I got to go back and watch some shows. I'm like, I get it now. I see it, And I think of all the people I lost during the show, my father, my good friend Nigel, and recently my brother. Back in right before Halloween, because Halloween was huge. We scared hundreds of people. We had 800 trick-or-treaters over. It was ridiculous. So I mean, I gotta admit, I do feel a little weird here because there was a lot of hardworking artists here, and to be singled out and for whatever I put in front of a microphone for rambling, I just want to say, seriously, thank you, and this actually really means more than I can put into words right now. So I'm just going to say thank you and good night.
Congratulations, Andy. Andy's Little Sci-Fi Horror Show. All right, I'm going to give another plug. It is on our video on demand, and I would encourage you to enjoy an episode or two. There's a lot of creativity that is being produced here at FATV, and that is one pure example of such. 30 years, Andy, really? 30 years. Incredible. All right, so on to our next member award this evening. which is the Romolo Testamarte Award. This is the highest honor of the member awards, which represent outstanding volunteer service with FATV. Tonight's recipient is not just a single person, it's a group of individuals, a dedicated team who have just hit a milestone in their local TV program. This volunteer crew of Chess Chat broke their 200th episode threshold this past February, a program which debuted on FATV back in 2006. By the way, in that debuted program, the guest was none other than Sally Cragen. And your son. And that can be found on Dave Kuchar's YouTube channel if you'd like to check it out further. But unfortunately, Dave is not with us here tonight. He is a part of that crew. But since that time, the crew has expanded along with the content and discussions of each monthly episode. Don't take this show for granted either. It is a one-of-a-kind program in the United States. We just recently had a request to syndicate the program down in Pennsylvania, and there are others who are watching it that don't tell us.
Which is the case.
So this team recently interviewed the U.S. Women's Chess Champion, and they continue to produce topical discussions that are ongoing in the global chess community. This Chess Chat team, say that again, is one who I can proudly say is a true member-driven community access program. George Marjanian, David Kuchar, Darren Dame, and Brian Bigelow come to FATV on a regular monthly basis to produce this program. They are versed in the equipment and they are creative in their execution. FATV is proud to have them as a member producer, and we look forward to its many more episodes. So George, David, David's not here, Darren, and Brian, I'm honored to present this year's Romolo Testamarte Award to the Chess Chat team. I got three of them that I got to.
Yeah.
So we got Darren.
Okay. I would like to introduce, before I introduce you to our crew, our stalwart crew here, I want to thank actually FATV, from its executive director Nate Glenny to its operations manager Travis Falk, who does everything, to the production specialist Dan Bolak, and last but not least, Ann Bisbee, the longtime station manager who decided to retire. She was invaluable to Chess Chat in promoting the program. She would call me every month, weeks ahead of time, to ask me, what is the subject of your program? Because what she would do is take that program title and submit it to the Sentinel Enterprise and have it appear as one of FATV's highlights of the week. And I really commend Ann Bisbee for promoting the program that she did. A true. Now let me introduce you to our crew. And this program would not be possible without having a dedicated director at FATV, a person who's directed a number of shows, but he has stayed the longest with Chess Chat. It'll be actually in October this year. It'll be 19 years, 19 consecutive years, and that's Darren Dame. Darren. Darren is an award-winning director because he won the Boulder Award in 2009. And in that October 2006 debut that we also had a strong volunteer, Brian Bigelow. Brian, come say hi.
Thank you.
Man, a few words. Brian is our set designer, our cameraman. He assists Darren in the control room with cueing the moves of a game that we present. So he's invaluable to the whole production. Another person who could not make it today is Dave Kuchar, my trusty co-host. But sitting over there, who refused to come and stand with us, is someone who actually was my special co-host when Dave Kuchar could not co-host the program, and that's Mike Camiso, sitting there, waving to the crowd. Now, I want to say something about, which was alluded to by our executive director. The idea of this program came from my niece, Sally Cragen, who is sitting amongst us. Sally Cragen. And she actually, back in 2006, she said, you know, George, you are now actually having your chess club at Fitchburg State University. That was then Fitchburg State College, but Fitchburg State University. And she said, you know, it would be a nice idea having chess on TV, teaching chess to those actually in the community. Now, I want to thank Fitchburg State University because it was because of the efforts of a professor of mathematics who taught at Fitchburg State University for 33 years, was chairman of the mathematics departments. Does anybody know his name? Who taught at Fitchburg State University mathematics for 33 years and became a member of our club and was our member right until he died? Does anybody know the name of the professor I'm talking about?
Mark Schneider?
Who's this?
Is it Mark Schneider?
No. There's the name Ernest Fondrier. Ernest Fondrier, who actually was the professor for 33 years, became a member actually when our club actually was meeting in downtown Leominster, came to me, and this is what he told me. He said, George, would you oppose my approaching the president of Fitchburg State College, the 10th president of the college, was Bob Antonucci. He said, I would like to go to, yes. By the way, Bob Antonucci made Fitchburg State the state university of Massachusetts. I mean, the number one state university. And to all of us, we still consider Fitchburg State University number one state university in the state. But when Bob Antonucci was approached by Ernest Fondrier, Professor Fondrier, said, would you consider hosting the Wachusett Chess Club? He said, by all means. This is just an asset to this institution. So he embraced the Wachusett Chess Club, which, by the way, I will tell all of you here, actually, among all the chess clubs that exist in this country, the Wachusett Chess Club at Fitchburg State University has the best weeknight attendance, Monday through Friday, of any chess club in the nation. We are number one. There are other chess clubs in the country, naturally, in Boston, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas. We outdo all these other clubs in our attendance. And I attribute that to the Fitchburg State University being our host, which actually makes us number one. So I see that my time has run out because I could actually go on for another hour or so.
Easy.
But I want to thank you all for coming to honor our Susan Navarre, who has done much great things for the Fitchburg Historical Society, and I applaud Susan Navarre for her being awarded the award this evening. And I want to say one last thing before I end. And this goes back to Fitchburg State University. Fitchburg State University should be very proud of the fact that it was there at Fitchburg State University, at Wachusett Chess Club at Fitchburg State University, that the reigning U.S. women's champion, the current U.S. women's champion, the highest rated female chess player in the country, who has won the U.S. women's championship 3 times, but is the current champion, Carissa Yip, who was mentioned, Nick Lenny, you mentioned Carissa Yip. She developed her chess playing skills at Fitchburg State University and became the #1 player in the country. Yes, she's appeared actually 5 or 6 times on the show. Again, we give thanks to Fitchburg State University providing her the place to develop her chess playing skills so that she became the #1 female chess player in the country. And she did it at Fitchburg State. Thank you all. Thank you all. Okay, thank you. Congratulations. Sorry that I talked too long, but that's. But I'm no. Should I tell the story about? No.
You want stories? He's got stories.
Recently, as in 6 days ago, Fitchburg State University just investiture, that's what it's called, but the process of doing it, you were inaugurated as the first female president of Fitchburg State University. And so your partnership in our community is cherished, from chess to FATV to the city of Fitchburg to the Fitchburg Public Schools to the Historical Society. I could go, the Fitchburg Art Museum. I could go on, and I'm going to miss somebody.
All
but
the things.
all the things that make Fitchburg great. Thank you. So. Our final member award this evening is a very special one to an incredible individual. The Excellence Award is an award our staff created to honor and celebrate the achievements of our staff. If you've been a part of our FATV community, well, then you know truly how awesome this individual is. After working at your hometown station, who knows what that is? WEIM. Ann Bisbee made the leap and joined FATV back in 2011. Since then, she's been a part of FATV's success and its connection to the community. Well, she's a Leominster girl, and we've gone back and forth on that good old rivalry song and dance. Her dedication to FATV is unquestionable. No words can really, truly describe how much of an integral member she's been with our team and this organization. Ann is, well, she's that employee that everybody dreams to have. She kept me in line. She also was that bright, smiley face that you came when you came to our station, and I could list off everything that she's done. Words just cannot express it all. But so, in addition to being named this year's Excellence Award recipient, there is also some other items I would like to present with you today. Ann, may I ask that you kindly join me, please? And Madam Mayor, could you join me, please? Excuse me, Madam Mayor. This over here is the Excellence Award. So this is the first. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, would you like to express a few words of something that you have?
Sure. Well, I'll just start with, I think I started discussing Fitchburg now on FATV in September 2015. Sounds right. And Ann was there. Mm-hmm. All right. Ann's like the backbone of FATV, or she has been for 14 years, I'm sure. But definitely for the 10 that I've been doing the TV show. I mean, Ann's just there. Sam, what are you doing? When are you doing the show? What do you need? When are you going to be here? What studio? What do you guess? Do you got the mic? Okay. When are your guests going to be here? Do you need water? Anne's just on it. She's just on top of it. And, when I was there doing the TV show live at 7 p.m., Anne would go home. She was not there. But then I started shooting it in the afternoon, and I had the Anne treatment. So anyone who has had the Anne treatment, I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about. Attention to detail, ready, on top of it, everything you need when you're just an amateur producer, or just the talent, like I'd like to call myself. But that's just an aside for Anne. I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate so much that I have the privilege and opportunity to give you this citation from the city of Fitchburg. Be it hereby known to all that the city of Fitchburg, Massachusetts hereby offers its sincerest congratulations for the FATV Excellence Award recipient, Ann Bisbee. And I learned that today. In recognition of your 14 years of outstanding service to Fitchburg Access Television, with deep appreciation for your passion, dedication, and meaningful impact on community media. The entire citizenry extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune given this first day of May 2025 by Samantha Squalia, the mayor. Congratulations.
Excuse me. Pardon me.
We've got state stuff.
We got a few others. So our state delegation is working on Beacon Hill, and unfortunately they weren't able to be here to present it. So we also have, and I'm not going to read the full thing, but we have a citation here from the House of Representatives signed by Ronald Mariano, the Speaker of the House, and offered by our local representative, Michael P. Kushmerek. And this is in recognition for all that you've done with FATV. You want me to hold? And congratulations. And we also have a citation from the Senate in recognition of being named the recipient of the 2025 FATV Excellence Award, and signed by Karen Spielka, I think is how it is. And thank you, Madam Mayor. And offered by our Senator John Cronin. So here you are as well. So thank you. Would you like to say something? Okay.
I certainly wasn't expecting any of this. I'm also a little short for this mic. I absolutely adored all of my 14 years at FATV. We have come so far to our lovely shiny new building in Fitchburg. The community at FATV represents the community in Fitchburg, and it's a family. And I miss you guys. I was very happy to be part of the team, and I hope I will always be part of the FATV family.
You will.
Thank you.
Oops. So a lot of that Ann did not know was happening tonight, so a few surprises for her, but Ann, thank you so much. And without further ado, it is now time to segue into our celebration for tonight's 28th Boulder Award recipient. So, could you please join me in welcoming, yes, one of our only lifetime members of FATV's memberships, the current mayor of the city of Fitchburg, Samantha Squalia. Welcome back to the podium.
I'm back.
Yes, you are back. Here you are. You have something to present someone?
Oh, okay. Well, hi. Hi.
It's you again.
Yeah, I'm back. So, in honor of our 28th Boulder Award recipient, Susan Navarre, I again have the honor to present this citation from the city of Fitchburg. But just to start to say a few words, Susan knows everything there is to know about Fitchburg history. I mean, you want to know anything there is to know about Fitchburg, Susan's got it. I mean, she either has it right here and then she'll spout it off for a 5-minute, hey, did you know that did you know 99 years ago that the mayor of Fitchburg was named whatever his name is? And do you know what his occupation was? I mean, the only rivalry that Susan has is George Mirajanian. All right? That's the only rivalry that she has when it comes to Fitchburg history. But the best part about Susan is not that she knows it off the top of her head, which she does, but that she knows where to find the information. And she knows who to ask. So, when I was first elected mayor and I got to give my inauguration speech, I was thinking, ooh, what happened 100 years ago? And I was like, Susan, hey, do you have the inauguration speeches from the mayors from 100 years ago? Why, yes, of course. Fitchburg Historical Society has everything that you need. And she found me the speeches from the mayor from 100 years ago. And we incorporated that into the speech, and it was just huge success. So, when it comes to anything that you need to know about Fitchburg history, the Fitchburg Historical Society is absolutely the place to be. And not only does Susan know it and she can find it, but she uses media to share that information. What's the name of the show? I remember when, right? And I mean, that's the thing about Fitchburg. Fitchburg has multiple groups, some of them very popular, some of them, toxic, or, people argue about stuff or whatever. But the one that's arguably the number one easiest going is Fitchburg Historical Society Facebook group, Fitchburg History. And so from there, everyone shares about Fitchburg history. It's the most popular thing. Everyone wants to talk about what happened in Fitchburg's history. I remember when. Oh, I remember this. Oh, back in the day. And so we have a TV show on FATV where Susan curates these things and interviews people and also just shares old historical footage and pictures. And it's just the most happening thing. That's what people really want to see. And so obviously, Susan, the best recipient of the 28th annual Boulder Award recipient. I'm so proud and honored to be here to offer you the citation in recognition for Susan Navarre of Fitchburg Access Television's prestigious recognition of your outstanding contributions to civic life through the use of public communications. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, Susan, hold on, one more. There are more. There are not yet. There's more prizes. So we also have a citation from our House of Representatives. We've heard them all, but we're very appreciative that we are able to recognize Susan for winning this year's Boulder Award. So this is from Michael Kushmerek, and we also have another Senate citation here in recognition of being our Boulder recipient this year, offered by Senator Cronin. So congratulations on these. Do you mind if I display them on the table right here?
Thank you.
And we got,
No speech?
not yet. We got to award the Boulder first, Mayor. So, thank you, Madam Mayor, for presenting our citations. I don't want you to stand up here for too long, so I'm giving you a little break period. But now I would like to introduce to you our guest speaker for this evening. He's no stranger to many of you. He is the director of the Fitchburg Art Museum. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Nicholas Capasso.
Good evening, everyone. Could we possibly have a nicer evening for this event? Have you looked out the window lately? Oh my gosh. First thing I'd like to do is thank Nate Glenny of FATV for offering me the opportunity and privilege to speak about the recipient of the 2025 Boulder Award, Susan Navarre. I've known Susan since 2013 when she became director of the Fitchburg Historical Society. I had just become the director of the Fitchburg Art Museum, and Susan and I, with our respective institutions, began our work and began our journey to contribute to the well-being of our community in Fitchburg and North Central Massachusetts. Susan's achievements at the Historical Society have been many. She oversaw and orchestrated the successful move of the Historical Society from their old home on Grove Street to consolidate their operations at the far more prominent and accessible Phoenix Building on Main Street. Under Susan's leadership, the Historical Society radically expanded their storytelling about the diverse communities who have settled, lived, and worked in our city, to celebrate the lives and contributions of women, African Americans, Asian Americans, Latinos, and people from the Jewish community. She also worked to create a searchable online database of the Historical Society archives, making their collections far more accessible to anyone with any interest in our local history. And she significantly expanded the reach of the Historical Society through multiple means of communication. She is, after all, the recipient of the Boulder Award for outstanding contributions to civic life through the use of public communications. That's why we're here. So, specifically, she and her team, mostly of volunteers, have told stories about our history through regular newsletters, both printed and digital, special programs and exhibitions at the Phoenix Building, off-site lectures and presentations, a robust and interactive Facebook discussion group, which the mayor mentioned, and the FAT program, I Remember When. In this way, Susan has created a host of ongoing opportunities for the people of our region to tell their own stories. And many of you may not know this, she performs all this work as a part-time director with a paid staff of 1. She must be cloning herself. Susan also provides leadership through her many commitments to nonprofit board service. She has brought her expertise to the Massachusetts History Alliance, the Central Massachusetts Genealogical Society, the Fitchburg Cultural Alliance, and the Fitchburg Rotary, among many others. On a personal note, I'm happy to no, this is good. I'm happy to say that Susan is one of my favorite collaborators in our community. She always shows up. She always says yes enthusiastically, and she's always ready to help. She radiates positivity, promise, and optimism in a city that needs and deserves all three. She's also interested in and knows quite a bit about almost everything. I have never had a dull conversation with you, Susan. And so to conclude, Susan is what's known as a public historian. She's not spending her time alone in libraries and archives writing books. She's out in the community as an educator, a communicator, and an interpreter of history, making it accessible and relevant to diverse audiences. She believes in and stands up for truth and multiple perspectives. She knows that a broad understanding of history shapes our present and our future and is foundational to a functioning democracy. These days, when education, history, democracy, and indeed truth itself are under attack by very powerful authoritarian forces, to be a public historian requires great courage and character. I applaud Susan for performing this vital role on behalf of all the people in our beloved community, and I congratulate her for receiving this year's well-deserved Boulder Award.
So, ladies and gentlemen, your the 28th recipient of the Boulder Award, Susan Navarre. Congratulations. Thank you. Over on the other side of the podium, because our photographer will give a nice picture right in between. Over here.
Thank you.
Susan, may I say something real quick before?
Of course, of course.
I really got to thank you. We're neighbors on Main Street. I think it's great. And when you think about what is on Main Street, we have history preservation, we have history preservation, we have history preservation at City Hall and the Northern Worcester County Register of Deeds. So there is so much history happening in downtown Fitchburg. Susan, you probably know more than all of us combined. So congratulations, and we'd love to hear from you. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Nick. You really said everything, I think. And I want to tell you that before I came out here, I knew Nick Capasso's work from the DeCordova Museum, and I worked with professional artists, and I knew how important his shows were for them. They really set the discussion in the art world in Boston, and so I was really excited to know that he had come out here to Fitchburg too, because I'd visited the art museum, I knew how renowned it was, and I was really excited to see what would happen here. And that keeps happening over and over again in Fitchburg. And thank you, Fitchburg Access TV. You've been extraordinary partners to work with in this. This is something, as Nick was saying, I love. I love sharing history and the local stories with everyone. I'm a little overwhelmed here. I'm very excited to see all my friends and colleagues, and I really want to talk with every one of you singly, so I hope we can do that afterwards. You know, the Historical Society is a wonderful place, and so much of what we accomplish is done as a team, so I want to make sure to thank my team, my extraordinary board of directors and my president, Amy Green, and my colleagues, Loretta Klein and Joel Serrano, and my earlier colleagues too, Katrina Brown, Daphne Fish, Maya Capasso, and Chris Butler. And also a big thank you to Shirley Wagner and Dan Mylott, who were important for bringing me here to Fitchburg and helping me get settled when I did come here. And also to my husband, Tim, who's my chief editor and proofreader and speechwriter and a lot more besides. And to my mom, Carolyn, who's a new Fitchburg citizen, and she's my cheerleader too. So. So when I interviewed with Scott May recently on FATV, he actually asked me, so what brought you out to Fitchburg? And I said, it was the reputation of the Fitchburg Historical Society. People in the field know the Fitchburg Historical Society's collections, their programming, their publications, and they're respected far and wide. So I knew that it would be a real honor and a wonderful opportunity to work there. And all that has been true and so much more. I never knew how important Fitchburg as a community would become for me. When I was thinking about what I would say tonight, I kept going back and forth between two different ways that I talk about and think about Fitchburg. On the one hand, I always say to people, well, Fitchburg is the story of America. Fitchburg is the American city. But then I also say, well, also Fitchburg is a unique city because there's so much that's unique about it. And I'll tell you, I've talked with other archivists and historians in the area, and they all comment on that, how much more Fitchburg does than you would ever expect of this city. And so actually, Tim and I were talking about it over dinner one night, and then I realized, right, it's both. And then Tim said, well, you know what? And the Fitchburg Historical Society is also both. It's a typical New England historical society, but it's also a completely unique one, too. And I thought, yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. On the one hand, I love it that we have colonial foot warmers that look exactly like the foot warmers from the Middle Ages, and we have those on view. But then we also have mighty lathes, and we have the first electrical generator for the city of Fitchburg, and we have patents and patent models because this city was an industrial powerhouse, as well as being a center for culture and for commerce. So when we're a unique historical society, we're following the lead of our city. Another part of our uniqueness, I think, is the energy that we pour into making our work accessible to everybody in the community. When I came in 2013, we had just opened up this big new headquarters in the magnificent Phoenix building right on Main Street. It had been a huge project that was successfully led by Sally and Porter Dickinson and Molly Gilmartin and their whole team. And we have great big picture windows on Main Street to show people what we do. And then we had built the George R. Wallace and Alice Wallace Exhibition Hall, again, facing Main Street, so you could see that history right on Main Street. And with the ongoing help of the George and Alice Wallace Foundation, we made the commitment to have changing exhibitions, to have events, all of them public, open to the public and free. We're open 3 days a week, and we're open for special events like Civic Days, the Long Joe Race, Santa Claus, and Halloween. And we're there all the time for people to come and visit, to research, for tourism, and just for hanging out, because we really committed to being welcoming for everyone. So another unique part of what we do is that we've been collecting from the recent past. And of course, if you think about it, the 20th century in Fitchburg, it's so important that the changes through the 20th century for Fitchburg's identity. I mean, we can't talk about Fitchburg if we're not talking about the Patch and Cleghorn and South Fitchburg and Finntown and Greektown and the Hmong community, and on and on and on. They're all central to what we do. I was thinking about it too. Everybody that I have met that worked at the city school system has said to me how many languages the students of Fitchburg's schools speak. And if you go into the high school, they all know how many flags are hanging up in the high school lobby, because this is such a diverse community. And then of course we have 2020. We all know that we were living through an important historical moment. And so we started collecting things from the community, from students and from adults, writings and artworks. And those are all now part of our collection too, so that we are holding them for the future. But why does a historical society exist? Well, I think a lot of people have mentioned it already, but what do we do for the people of Fitchburg? And I'll say, on the one hand, we provide educational opportunities for the local school children and their families. We're a place for them to come and explore and learn something new every time they get there. Our hope is that for these kids, that when they go to class in social studies, in history, in civics, that it will all feel really real for them now and relevant to their own lives because they've seen this in the inside of the Historical Society. One example, in school you might learn about abolition and the Civil War, but when you come into the Historical Society, you can actually see actual letters written by Civil War soldiers from Fitchburg writing on the battlefield home to their mothers. Or we had another wonderful example. We had a small book on display that dated from the Revolutionary War. It had been owned by a Fitchburg soldier of the Revolution. And an 8-year-old was in looking at the exhibition with his dad. And the 8-year-old said to me, "Wait, was that actually around in 1776? And his dad looked at me and said, "I don't know how he knows these things." He just loves history. And when I think about it, he was having exactly the experience that our founders wanted him to have when they started the Historical Society more than 130 years ago. Because there were so many changes going on in society at that time. On the one hand, there was this new movement, the colonial revival, that felt that it was really important to make sure that the early history of Fitchburg wasn't lost. And when you think about the founders, they had just lived through the Civil War less than 30 years before. So they knew how many dangers there were of forgetting. But also there were new laws that young children couldn't go to work until they were 14 or so. And so they had to go to school first till they were 14. And the school classrooms were expanding hugely. Kay and I found out that the elementary school classes at that time had about 56 to 64 children in each class. So big classes, a lot to teach people. Plus, of course, Fitchburg, like so many industrial centers in the 19th century, was growing hugely. Its population had actually doubled, and then doubled, and then doubled yet again. So you had people immigrating from overseas to come to Fitchburg to work in these factories that were all up and down the streets in Fitchburg. And I've looked at the numbers for the population, and it was just going straight like this in the 1880s. So our founders wanted to make sure that all these new Americans knew about the American Revolution, but also that they knew about what was happening right then in Fitchburg, that there were all these new inventions and there were new companies, and essentially that the Industrial Revolution was happening right here in Central Mass and really right here in Fitchburg. So that's why, to me, Fitchburg's history is the quintessential American history. But then that's our educational mission. Then on the other side, the other thing that we do at the Historical Society is that we collect your story. And I'll tell you why. It is because Fitchburg is such a unique city. It's this great combination of immigrant communities laid on Yankee traditions. And now this era, we've continued to see this, that you have this rich, diverse population in Fitchburg speaking a variety of languages. And here we're keeping everybody's culture and traditions alive. So in fact, you may have been at the 2024 Boulder Awards when Peter Capadagli talked about those Fitchburg feelings, those moments that were unique to Fitchburg. And it's funny because every story that he told, I thought it was intensely familiar and absolutely unique to Fitchburg, too. And that's why your stories are so important, because Fitchburg will always surprise you with those Fitchburg moments. I'll just mention within our library, it's not a very quiet library, because when we've got it filled with people exploring and reading in the archives, and they keep laughing at what they find, or they keep sharing something that they've just discovered. Just 2 weeks ago, it was Sean Sweeney who was in. He was looking for sports history in the Sentinels from the 1860s. And first he discovered 2 talks that were given by Frederick Douglass in Fitchburg during that time. And then he discovered the Rollstone Baseball Club, a baseball team that played in Fitchburg in 1866. Even the box scores were being published in the paper. And actually, so my husband wanted me to mention, don't forget about what a big baseball town this has always been. I know that most of you know that Babe Ruth visited and raved about how beautiful Crocker Field was. And he also golfed right in this golf course on Red Sox Day, and I have met someone who got his autograph that day. Also, when we were researching, we figured out that Jim Thorpe played in Fitchburg on one of its minor league baseball teams. It was his last professional baseball gig. So at the same time that Sean was researching, I was researching for a group of Fitchburg High School kids that were going to come to the Historical Society. So I was looking for what was it like to be a kid in the 1800s. And so now I kept laughing too, because I was reading about the laws about child labor, and you absolutely couldn't work if you were under 16 years old. Except that, of course, there were so many loopholes that actually you could work if you were 11 or 12 in a factory too, and that's all fine. So actually Sally Cragen kept saying, "What are you laughing at over there?" So we know that, and then when the kids came in, we could show them the actual records, and you could see them trying to imagine what it would have been like to be 12 years old and already working in a factory. And then they could see it right there that it had happened here. So of course, as you can tell, things have changed in Fitchburg since the 1890s, and we've certainly changed with the times. It's very important for us to have everybody's history at the Historical Society, every part of society, every person in society, because they have all helped create this city that we have today. I actually wanted to share something that was from a man who came to visit us recently. He grew up in Fitchburg. His name is Joseph Spound. He's 95 years old, and he really wanted to see Fitchburg again. And he told us about his dad, Jacob Spound, who was a Jewish immigrant who had to leave school in 6th grade to go to work, and had ended up founding a very successful furniture company that was in Fitchburg. And we found something that Jacob Spound wrote at the end of World War II. And actually, when we were having a program about World War II with Fitchburg State, we read part of this letter. So I'll read a very short excerpt from it. He wrote, "The nightmare is over. After the glad news, Mother and I started out to visit our neighbors. There was Claire and Izzy Alperin sitting on the porch across the way. A lump came to my throat as I walked across to say, well, what could I say? I gripped their hands in silence as tears rolled down their cheeks. Claire said, I'm so happy for you, Jack. Everybody's boys are coming home, but mine." And then he describes the marching and the singing and the bonfires and the horn tooting in downtown. And then he writes, "We went to bed, but I couldn't sleep. The final surrender of Tokyo had stirred my emotions to such a pitch that it left me exhausted yet without sleep. Man must atone for the vast slaughter of human lives. The best seeds of nations have been interred in Mother Earth. So I fell asleep, dreaming, thinking, planning, loving my wife and children, and thanking God that they are mine and that peace will come to the world." And this was written by a man who had a 6th grade education. And we're running across documents like this all the time. One of my favorites is by David Dillon, who, when he took a boat from Canada to the United States as a very young man, he remembers every single penny that he spent to get to Massachusetts, because he arrived with less than $1 in his pocket. And of course, then he founded Dillon Boilers, which still exists. And we see that story everywhere. We've found evidence of programs that were for welcoming immigrant communities to Fitchburg in 1914. We know that there were homegrown programs to teach English as a foreign language, and that developed right here in Fitchburg. In fact, one of my hometown heroes is Margaret Kelty. She was the one she developed this program, and then she traveled all over America teaching people her method for teaching English as a foreign language. So I'll say Margaret Kelty doesn't have to be your hometown hero. Maybe yours is an athlete like Clarence Amiot or Erkki Kutunen or Carmelita Landry or Art Longjo. Or maybe it's a campaigner for women's rights, civil rights, workers' rights, and local freedom for taxation. Well, you get to choose. My vision is that at the Historical Society, making that choice is a fun and a win-win process for you. You'll be able to find so much fascinating material and so many surprising stories that you'll have a hard time choosing which is your favorite. Well, time has raced by since I joined the Historical Society, and we have accomplished a lot of the things that I wanted to do there. And of course, it's really our team that has accomplished it, never me. I'm just sort of the ringmaster for all of that. For example, many of you have probably seen the terrific educational exhibitions that were put on by Kathy Flynn. In fact, she was honored as a Commonwealth Woman of the Year, in part for her curating at the Historical Society. Or you may have seen the first and largest bicycle exhibition ever created of Ivor Johnson bicycles. Those are, of course, the Fitchburg-made bikes that have a cult following among bike nerds, aficionados. Pete Capadagli, Joel Caddy, and Scott Kinsman did that one. So how did we top that? Well, we did another one the next year with even more bikes. And then again, the year after that. And I don't know if you know this, but we had bike enthusiasts coming from as far away as the Philippines to see our exhibitions. So now what we want to do is we want to transform our permanent collection exhibition so that we can draw people from across the nation, because I've seen we've already done it. And I'm happy to say that there are other opportunities that are beckoning. We've begun a project to fully catalog our amazing H.M. Francis collection of architectural drawings that was brought to us years ago by Bill Chittick and Frank Garrettson. We've worked with architectural scholars who have told us that this is a really important collection of American architecture. So we're working on raising funding to get that work done. We've also worked with Fitchburg State students and faculty to develop more sophisticated tools for interpreting the Historical Society's collection using new technologies. And we're also working to interpret the histories of recent immigrant communities with our program Making and Remaking the American Dream, our celebration of the 250th anniversary of the United States. So I think the idea I want you to carry away tonight is that history is not what you experienced in middle school or in high school. The teachers, I'll tell you, the teachers had a hidden agenda back then. They were trying to civilize you. But now at the Historical Society, we have no desire to civilize you. We like you exactly the way you are. So there are stories like Frenchie Maynard's tale on how the Floppenoffen Ski Club got their name, but we're gonna have to save that for another night. So my question is, how are your stories important? What do your stories mean for the future? Well, we're going to get to the future, I think, with learning, by opening our minds, and perhaps most importantly, connecting with each other one-on-one. I think those Fitchburg moments that Pete alerted us to are the flashes of insight and connection that bring us together and allow us to become the heroes of our own stories. So what happens to history in the age of social media? Well, as we heard, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and you can listen to us on the radio, and you can watch us on Fitchburg Access TV, or you could go really old school and pick up the phone and give us a call, or you could do something really radical and put down the phone and come by and visit us. Because to realize the future of our city, each of us has to have a hand in realizing it. With all the talent that we have in this room together and all the talent watching us on TV, we are going to work together to bring Fitchburg into its newest golden age. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Susan again. Thank you very much, Susan. Congratulations. All right. Well, to all of our award recipients this evening, congratulations, Susan. I'm going to quiz you on Fitchburg history because I know between the mayor and I and maybe some others, we can find a way to stump you. I don't know. But everyone, thank you all for attending this evening. I hope you enjoyed this one. And don't forget, stay tuned because there's something new coming out. We toured the B.F. Brown project, the Annex building, and the old stables yesterday. And there will be a video coming out. I can't tell you when, because we got a few things coming up, but stay tuned for more local community programming here on FATV. Signing off. Good night.